Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is a show where we pick a movie and discuss it every week, just like a book club. On today's show, we are covering the horror classic, The Shining. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 1980, The Shining was directed by Stanley Kubrick and stars Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Danny Lloyd. A family heads to an isolated hotel for the winter, where a sinister presence influences the father into violence. At the same time, his psychic son sees horrifying forebodings from both the past and the future. It is ranked 67 on IMDb's Top 250 and has a 4.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd and is ranked 229 on its Top 250. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a spoiler warning for the movie. We will be spoiling this movie. If you haven't seen it before, which is kind of crazy if you haven't, but if you haven't, you should probably go watch it and then come back here, and then we can discuss it, and you won't be spoiled. But stay tuned to find at the end of the show what we are covering next week, because we're taking a little bit of a detour to another country. Alrighty, Kevin, we're here. The Shining. This has been a long time coming. You know, did we want to watch this during Halloween or during Christmas time? Who knows? But we're here now, and we are still on the Kubrick train after good old 2001: A Space Odyssey last week, and this was your pick this week.
Yep.
So, I mean, I could just try and guess what made you pick this movie, but what made you pick it?
I wanted to watch it again because of how damn good it is. So
there you go.
That's why I picked it. Period. End of story. Let's get into the review.
Enough. Let's go ahead and talk about it. This is one of those movies that if you are a film fan at all, you have most likely seen this movie. Came out to not a whole lot of fanfare, some low critic scores and reactions, but has grown over time. Like a lot of movies from the 80s, arguably. The Thing is another one that came out to low scores and then became an instant classic and is one of the best movies ever made. And this one's certainly up there. And it's no stranger, or no stranger. It is no surprise that both Kevin and I really like this movie, I'm guessing.
I agree.
So we'll dive into it a little bit deeper. But I do want to start out by saying that this is one of those movies, when I first saw this movie, I did not like it as much.
I can agree with you there, and I can talk for Nadia as well. Nadia agrees with this statement as well.
On first watch.
Yeah.
And then you watch it again, and you think it's a little bit better. And then you watch it again, and it gets better. It's one of those movies that gets better every time you watch it.
I totally agree.
Which is the sign of a truly great film.
And I feel like a lot of Kubrick movies, too, don't get the necessary reviews when they first come out, because maybe it's too ahead of their time. That when it comes out, because like 2001: Space Odyssey and this movie, this is a fantastic fucking movie. So, and it didn't praise it wanted, because maybe think of a movie, as some people would say, it's too psychological, and people didn't understand the process of processing a movie after they see the movie theaters. They want either a happy ending or a bad ending, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think that what also didn't help was, at the time, this is based off a Stephen King book, and Stephen King was not a fan of this movie when it came out, because they did change significant parts of the story. And I do have to say, I think, like, I haven't read the book, but I do own it. I haven't read it yet, but I look at them as two different things. This is Stanley Kubrick's Shining, not Stephen King's The Shining. This is Stanley Kubrick taking the bones and the skeleton of that story and adapting it to the one that he wants to tell. And, you know, I think it really works from beginning to end.
I think it does as well. It's fantastic. The location is absolutely gorgeous when we get to the cinematography. And I love how it takes place in a hotel. And that's it. You're not going anywhere else. You're just going throughout the lobby of the hotel, or the rooms, or the elevator. And it's very precise. You're never lost on where you are in the hotel. Sometimes it does make you lost because of the perception of the hotel and the camera work of the hotel.
Yeah, you're either in the hotel or you're on the grounds. most of the time. There's only very few times, like when you're at I forget the character's name, the chef character, Halloran. When you're at Halloran's home for like 2 minutes when he's on the phone, or their apartment at the beginning, like you get those, sure, but then like once you're out of there, it's pretty much just the hotel, and it is based on the Stanley Hotel, which is a real hotel here in the United States. I believe it's in Idaho, Colorado. There it is. One of those Midwest states. I said one of those. Yes, they all blend together at some point. But like it's a brilliant idea. Like, are those sets? Is that the hotel? Who knows? Like, it's genuinely hard to tell. And the location is a big part of what makes the movie work. You're basically feeling cabin fever like they are.
Yeah, you are, and you're going through it, but just from a perspective of yourself. You get to see different things that the other characters don't get to see. Like when you're with Tommy, rolling around on his little three-wheeler and seeing everything. But then you go also to Jack's perspective of him being
Danny,
crazy. I'm sorry, what was it?
Danny.
Okay, Danny. But then you also get Jack's perspective as going crazy, but why is he going crazy? And then you get Shelly's perspective of as her husband's going crazy. So it's it's like three different, I don't want to say stories, but three different horrors happening at the same time.
Yeah, and it's really something special. Like Danny's going through something completely different than Shelley Duvall. Shelley Duvall is watching her husband descend. Like she's really the level person in this whole movie. I mean, she does get hysterical at some points because she's scared, as most of us would be. I think that, and then obviously, Jack Nicholson goes through probably the most of this movie, changing completely. I mean, but it's really kind of letting out what he feels internally. Like there's a lot going on here besides just the horror aspect. This is a man who has felt like he has failed in a lot of different ways, and he's going through the pains of whoops, that's the wrong button. Going through the motions of someone who is struggling with failure in their family, because this is still a time when the male person in the relationship was kind of seen as the breadwinner, and when you're not fulfilling that role, you definitely go through a lot. There is a lot of layers to this movie, and the trauma and the kind of events that they all go through. Like they touch on the fact that he accidentally hit Danny at one point, and that's a concern for Shelley Duvall's character. Like, are you going to be violent again? Like, there's a lot going on here.
Well, and then
the ghosts just bring out,
and then the drinking as well.
Yeah,
he was 5 months sober or something like that. They say it in the thing.
He's been sober for a period of time.
Yeah, and then he starts drinking again, and then that's when shit hits the fan, pretty much. So
I don't know if he does drink though. Like,
well,
that could have been in his imagination.
That's the thing, you don't know, because you just see him with the drink, and then you don't see him with the drink, right? Yeah. So it's like, did he drink it? Did he not? How much has he drank? If he is drinking the drink, that's a lot of drinks.
It's almost like the justification in his mind for the things he ends up doing.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I did it because I was drunk, and they're like, well, there wasn't any alcohol in the bar. Like, how are you? Like, I think that is just a brilliant idea to kind of create doubt, and he might not be all there to begin with. Like, it's just fascinating.
It is fascinating when you get those twists and turns in this movie where you're like, oh shit, there wasn't that there. Oh wait, this didn't really happen. And then you get to see the picture at the end, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Pretty much, that's what this is. It's what the hell's going on, and then you watch it again, you kind of understand it, but you pick up on different things.
100%. Now, if I do have any criticisms of the movie, a lot of them have gone away over time. Initially, when I first watched this movie, I did not like Shelley Duvall's character, because I didn't think that Shelley Duvall was doing a whole lot when I first watched it. And then upon rewatches and subsequent viewings, I realized that her performance is one of the better. It's very good. you know. But the one thing that has kind of stayed with me is that I think that this movie does suffer from some pacing issues
Hmm.
around the middle, and I think that there are a couple of sequences and a couple of things that are included into the movie that are kind of just there for visual effect. Like there's a part where Shelley Duvall's character is going through the hotel and she stumbles across the room with like the guy in the bear outfit
Yeah.
and the guy on the bed, and it's like, why? I mean, I know it's showing like ghosts of the past or whatever, but like, why did you have to do that? There's other things I feel like they could have done visually. You know, like there's just a couple things that like, why is that there?
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I can see that, especially the length. I think the length when I first watched it was really long.
Yeah.
Upon rewatching it, it's still a little bit long, but it's not as bad.
It's by no means like horribly long. It's only it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Like it's
Yeah.
not that long of a movie, but you know, but because of pacing during that middle, it can feel a little longer.
Yeah.
But then once start things to go off the rails, like when Jack Nicholson first sees his bartender,
Hmm.
like that's when the movie kind of kicks into higher gear. Even though it is legitimately tense the entire time.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
you just feel that something is wrong the entire time.
Exactly. Exactly.
So-
And that's what makes it a horror movie, I feel like, in an aspect of it.
And I think that kind of it. I don't want to say it's true horror because, you know, that's very different from person to person what they find truly scary and whatever. I think that this is classic horror, though, just a constant sense of dread and unease and tension from being in a weird environment, from supernatural things going on, whatever it may be. At its core, you are in an odd location, you are stuck there, and you are only with certain people. And like, if it was just your house, that's one thing. That's a small building. That hotel could have anything in it, and that's a part of what makes it scary. And I think that is what makes it so effective.
Yeah, I totally agree. And how big the hotel is too. You don't know what's going on the other side of the hotel or the wing that you don't visit that often as well. And I like how they put into aspect that how long it's going to be when he's taking this job up too. It's they're snowed in or something like that, or is it the off season?
Well, it's the off season because the snow gets so bad that they have to close down the resort. But
and that already gives some people claustrophobia because you're in one spot the entire time. So they're already starting to feed on that psychological horror when you first get that job hearing.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, someone offered me that job, I'm not doing it.
No, I
like
don't. I wouldn't.
If if I had someone like if it was you and I'd be more open to it. But like if it was just me, like, oh, you're gonna be the caretaker, holy shit, no. And like not like I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in anything supernatural, right? Like, but the that's not the problem. The problem is that your brain creates things in your head that you're like your brain goes, that's what, oh, was that a voice? Was that a footstep? It isn't. But it's just going to be the scariest experience of your life. Although if they do have a movie theater with streaming services and all that, and I can just sit there and watch movies, then yeah, that's fine. I'll do that job for whatever pay they give. But you know,
but if it's like the Nicholson job, you're like, no, I'm good. I'll pass.
I mean, even if it is the Nicholson job, I mean, as long as there's a movie theater and I don't have to pay to rent anything,
that's true.
You know, I'll do it all day long. I'll do that year round. You know, But no, like, I think that what I mentioned earlier, though, like every time you watch this movie, you find something new. It could be a new way, like, you know, thinking that he didn't actually drink anything came about because my most recent watching, I didn't think that before. You know, like there is something different, something new when you come back to this movie every time. Like you discover something new, you think something new, you feel something new. Maybe you think it's funny. Like someone could think that it's funny what ends up happening, right? Like, but it didn't the first time. You know, there's a lot that could happen. We recently I watched this movie with my roommates a couple of months ago because my roommate had never seen it. But he had seen it referenced so many times, and there was the Simpsons episode that makes fun of The Shining,
Yeah.
that he thought he knew the movie. And so
Oh.
he finally got to see it for the first time, and it was like, he was like, okay, I get it. That was amazing. So like, you know, it was a magical experience. I wish I had the capability of being able to see this for the first time again, and with the knowledge and the kind of the experience that I do now. Like that's an experience that I wish I could have again. Among many, there are many movies that I would love to see for the first time again, but this is towards the top of the list.
Yeah, it would be cool to see this in a movie theater as well.
Oh, 100%. I would say, like, if we ever got to the point where we had, like, a giant community and people who would do that kind of thing, I would want to host a showing of this at the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, that would be sick. Yeah.
100%. I'll get to stay there and then watch the movie in the ballroom or whatever. It would be absolutely incredible. Or just, like, film a documentary there or something. I don't know. I think that'd be a great time, among many other locations. It would be really fun to go to the Antarctica to make the Thing documentary.
The Thing. That would be funny.
Like, they only really allow scientists and stuff there, and you're like, yeah, we want to make a documentary about the Thing.
Yeah,
can we do that? But no, I love this movie. The performances, though, like Jack Nicholson is so good in this, and the fact that he wasn't even nominated for an Academy Award is insulting. Like, yeah, I know that some people don't really like the awards kind of people didn't really dig this movie. You know, it didn't
do well.
It didn't really do well. It got Razzie nominations. Like,
well, that's crazy.
Yeah, nominated for worst director, which is no, and then worst actress for Shelley Duvall.
No.
Which apparently I'm just reading this right now, that Shelley Duvall's nomination was rescinded in 2022. They removed it, stating that we have since discovered that Duvall's performance was impacted by Stanley Kubrick's treatment of her throughout the production.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why there were no, like, obviously I get it. Movies grow over time, and you know, things can change. Like, the world changes, and you can, you know, it alters things. But like, it's amazing that this was not treated well when it came out.
It came out.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious. I want to see one of my personal heroes, Roger Ebert. I wanted to see if he did a review for this, and what he thought of it when it came out. Just because I'm curious. And it looks like he did not review it. Let me see here. Siskel and Ebert. Yeah, Siskel did not give it a good review when it came out. 2 out of 4, and called it a disappointment.
Damn.
But he did imply that there could be more to it.
Okay. So he sees the potential in it.
Yeah, and I think that there was a lot more people that so from what I'm seeing here, a lot of people at the time just assumed that this was Stanley Kubrick making a slasher. And not looking into it as a psychological horror. You know, this tormented kind of family in this haunted location. Yeah. Or spiritual location, or whatever you want to call it. So, but yeah, like, you know, Jack Nicholson, incredible in this. Shelley Duvall does a very good job in this movie as well. Danny Lloyd, a really decent child performance for someone who has to like do 2 characters. Yeah. Scatman Crothers, who plays Halloran, the friendly gentleman that comes to save them, and then ends up getting the axe in the back. He's also really good in this movie. They're really the only people, except for some of the ghost people,
that make a difference, but stand out.
But I mean, like, the bartender's creepy. So to this day, man, he's a creepy guy. But anyhow, yeah, I don't know how many times I can say it. I love this movie. I love it more every time I see it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, Kevin. So we've talked enough about this movie. What do you think of the film? Because this was your pick. Final thoughts and score.
Final thoughts. Go watch this movie. Watch it a couple of times too, because you might not like it the first time. Second time, you might absolutely love it, just like me and Nadia and I did. And Garrett as well. The performance of Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall are amazing in this movie. The scenery in this movie, the cinematography in this movie is absolutely gorgeous, and you find things different every single time you watch this movie, and that's what makes a movie good. I gave it an 88 out of 100. Sorry.
88. All right. So the last time I actually reviewed this movie, I believe, I don't remember if we watched this on the podcast or if it was on somewhere else, but I had originally reviewed it at an 84, and that has gone up, so I did have to alter it. But I think that The Shining is masterfully made and incredibly acted. I think the only thing that hurts it is some dragging that happens in the beginning of its second act. However, its consistent state of tension and dread that doesn't let up from the beginning to the end is truly what sets this apart. And because of that, I love this movie. I gave it a 90 out of 100. That will probably go up at some point the more I watch this movie. But that equates to a 4.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. Nice. So that's my score. So the question now falls to you. What do you think of The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick now classic? Go ahead and leave those comments down in the comment section down below. But remember to be respectful of one another, because the other person could be a ghost from the past, luring you to be toxic. But next week we'll be covering the Italian drama about film, Cinema Paradiso, which I am very much looking forward to, and I hope that you are too. So make sure to watch it before next week so you're not spoiled. But thank you again so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all those wonderful things. We do have our live stream that goes live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Except if you're watching this on the day when this comes out, because we'll be streaming the day after New Year's. So if you're watching this before New Year's, Happy New Year. If you're watching this in 2025, I hope your year is going well so far. I hope this doesn't age poorly and we're all being nuked into oblivion. But thank you again so much for watching. We love you guys so much. This is our last movie club of 2024. So we hope you have a very safe and happy New Year celebration, and that the new year brings nothing but good things for you and those that you love. Have a fantastic New Year, everyone. And until next time, keep those eyes on the screen.